welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Rosie Henshaw. If you're new here, then welcome. It's lovely to meet you. And if you're already existing, guys, then thank you so much for coming back. I really do appreciate it. Grab yourselves a nice cup of tea and some snacks, and let's get into today's video. So today's video is a craft video. I am going to be bringing a little Tupperware box here so you can see what I'm doing, because I've had to try and make sure my head's in it and I'm not here, and that you can also see. Today's video, I wanted to do some Christmassy crafts. So one Christmassy craft I did talk to you about probably about 6-7 weeks ago now, which I can't even believe it's come around Christmas. I've had my tree up for like nearly 2 weeks, because it's a rather sentimental craft, and I think this is a really good idea, and you could do this really cheaply. So I've added this one in here, as well as another one that I know will be really cheap to make, and a lot of people, you'll be able to get these bits. And then the other crafts, I'm going to be trying out some of the viral hacks, the Christmas hacks that I've been seeing this year. So there'll be 3 of those as well. But what I thought I'd put them in today's video is because all of them have got a very beautiful, vintagey Christmas look. So it's very much a bit like the Ralph Lauren Christmas, which we all know just means traditional, just resold, with a special name on it. Someone actually did message me that, and I was like, I agree. But it's also got this sort of like vintage William Morris, Charles Dickens Christmas vibe to it. A little bit of a modern twist. So I wanted to do these crafts because I feel like you could do all these crafts in any colour scheme that you have in your house. You can apply this to it. I'm obviously choosing traditional because we do have traditional in our house, and all of these items you can get super cheaply. Most of them you can get from the pound shop. And then some of these bits you might already have, or you can get from a charity shop very cheaply. So I'm going to get in with the first craft, which is my photo frames that I'm going to be putting on the Christmas tree. Now, I did say to you guys, obviously a few weeks back, it was about 6 weeks ago now, as I did say originally, I'd thrifted some, can't get the words I'd say, I'd thrifted some photo frames. These ones were from the boot sale, and I did actually get these ones from, I think these were from the little vintage antique shop I got these from. So you can get really nice small frames. But I did order a few off Shein. So these ones don't have anything on the back, but they're rather lightweight resin. And I've seen that they've got these on Amazon as well. So I will link these for you. But by all means, I think it'd be quite quirky to just get small frames that you can hang on the tree, and you obviously don't have to wait for them to arrive. I think the Amazon ones should come pretty quickly. But you can get little frames everywhere. I mean, even a lot of shops like The Range do little frames, so you can have a little look. But I feel like this one, I'm not even going to do anything to, because I'm going to add the pictures, etc. This one, I do like the wooden look of it, but I probably will make it gold to pop in the tree. But I'm going to do the little shein ones today. So what I wanted to do is, obviously we've had a bit of a hard year this year, and I want to add a little bit of sentimental bits to our tree. So I'm going to be adding all the family members, including the ones that we've lost this year. But ideally I'd like them to be pictures of us at Christmas, which we can get, but I'd need to print them out. And I thought I want to do the crafts now. So I've had a little look through and sim through. So I thought what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some pictures that I've got at home in these little photo frames. And I think they'd be really cute on the Christmas trees. This is the children standing in front of the Christmas tree. I can't believe how big they've got. This is 6 years ago. I know that was definitely before Albert was made. Is one of your frames. I am going to be adding gold rubber buff to this, because as you can see, it's quite a garish gold. I did get some in white as well. I want them to be more like this colour. And the best colour rubber buff you will find ever is the European gold. I know a lot of people go for antique gold, but then yet again, it's very brassy. European gold will end up being very similar to this. It doesn't look like it on the tube, but trust me, it is the best one. I'm going to get a little bit of paper to put a little bit of my rub and buff on. Let me lower you a tiny bit actually, so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to put a little bit of rub and buff on the paper. You can put this on with your finger. It does stain a little bit, but you can get it off with some soapy water. And then with a little brush, I'm going to stipple over this. This isn't going to need too much, because where we've got the gold underneath, I'm going to keep a little bit of it popping through. But you'll see the difference in the gold. It looks much more of an antique gold. I mean, by all means keep them super bright, it is Christmas, but I just feel like it gives it that really lovely colour, and it'll be very similar to these golds. So I'm just going over it with that. That's European gold, because I always get asked, people say, Rosie, that's a really nice gold, that's not too bright. And whenever I do, that's the colour I always get. So then I'm just going to stipple on over the frame. Ideally you would let these dry, but I've not done a Blue Peter today. I've not pre-filmed anything. I just thought, I got up this morning, got ready, we got the kids to school, and I was like, what? I'm gonna start doing some crafts. So this is the frame now it's done. So what I want to add to this is you can add some like any colour thing that you're obviously going for. If you've got silver in your tree or you have blues or bright colours, you could paint these in bright colours if you wanted to. I think the gold would look quite nice with bright colours. Silver, white, black, any colour you're going for. And then you're going to need some ribbon. I'm going to put my glue gun on. Or you can put these on with string if you wanted to. I'm going to be using ribbon just because I feel like it'll look quite nice on the back. Plug it in. Right, now my glue gun is plugged in, waiting, getting warm. You're going to need your ribbon. Now, as I say, you can obviously get any colours you want. I'm choosing to have this like French ticking stripe ribbon. I feel like it's just going to look really nice with the gold. It's just going to look really pretty. I'm going to be doing loads of these. I feel like I might do one in this frame as well, so I can pull this off. Let's hope they're not antique and worth loads of money, eh? I don't really care. Do you know what? It ain't about, if it brings you joy, that's all that matters, in my opinion. And a lot of people sometimes will say, like, I see these lovely videos of people upcycling things and I like watching things like that. People are like, how dare you ruin that? But it's the same. If someone's actually going to enjoy that in their home forever, what difference does it make if they make it more then? Like, it's being recycled, it's not being used. Keep getting this like phantom feeling that I'm being touched under my arm. I've got a feeling I must have a really long armpit hair or something, or it's a hair on my dress. So I took this one out. I'm going to take the little cardboard out as well because it's a perfect fit. Nice and easy, didn't it? So then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get one of your pictures, whatever picture you want to go for, and then roughly place it where you want the picture, where the placement is, and just sort of like fold it in on itself to sort of get the rough shape of where you want it. And then cut it out. If you've already got a piece of card, because obviously these don't have any backings on them, so you can do it like that. If you've obviously got the bit of card like I do on the back, you can just pop this on your picture and cut round it. So you've got the perfect size, which I have just done. If I can remember where I put the picture. Where did I put my photograph? Oh, here it is. So then you don't need to use a glue gun if you're doing that on a bit of backing card. If it is like a photo frame that does have a back on it, you obviously don't need to do that. But I'm going to use a Pritt stick. You don't need to use glue. And then with a bit of Pritt stick, I'm just going to stick my picture on. And then we're going to stick it in the frame. Now this one's actually got a little hanger that I can hang my ribbon from. And push our little picture in there. And then what you can do is this has got like a little edge. You can glue them into the frame, or you can just use some framing tape. I've got some like duct tape or whatever, but what I am actually going to do is I will get some today actually, some nice Christmas patterned card. You can use wrapping paper for this. I'm going to use some Christmas card, I think, and then you can get them in really beautiful patterns, etc. These are just fabrics I'm going to be using on another craft. And then you could just cut it the exact shape and then glue it over the top. So if it was to turn around on the tree, it would still look really pretty. And then I'm gonna, now the hot glue gun is dry, I'm gonna show you on this one as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm also yet again gonna do a picture. So I've got a picture of me and Albert this time. This is him at Christmas, but he was like a tiny little teddy bear in his little like fleecy onesie. And then all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna glue on the back of the frame. I'm just gonna be putting a tiny, tiny little blob of glue around the edge. Just enough to stick the picture in. You don't have to do anything too heavy duty. Just a tiny little rim around there. Place your photo on top. And they just look really, really cute. Then with your glue gun, I'm just going to be using a piece of ribbon, probably about, this one about 15 centimetres. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do it, fold it over. So well, I'll show you, I'll explain a bit better. So I'm going to put one blob of glue on, and I'm going to put one of the pieces down, and then I'm going to glue this one back on itself so that you end up with this shape I'll show you. So fold it back on itself, but then put it down that way. If you do it that way, it will ensure that it hangs straight on the tree. Because if you do it the other way, you'll end up with this bowed look. And then you've got most beautiful decorations that you physically could not get more personal if you tried. These would be really good gifts for people as well. So for instance, you know, if you know someone's colour theme for their Christmas tree, etc., you could make them a little ornament, and they're just really, really beautiful. And obviously by the time you stick on the back, I mean, for this one, I could even, which I will do, well, let's finish the craft neatly, shall we? For this one, I've got some ribbon, which is quite thick. I'm gonna need 2 layers of it to cover the picture frame, I think, to cover the back. You can just use what you've got. You can use fabric if you want to. I just think it'd be easier with some wrapping paper or some Christmas craft, but all my wrapping paper's put right away. So I'm just gonna run over the back with some glue. Put one bit of my ribbon down on the back, nice and neat. A little bit of glue on the middle just because they're going to overlap a bit. And then put the other piece of ribbon over the top. So they'll be on the tree like this. And then if they were to accidentally turn around on the tree, they've still got like a nice pattern on the back. But if that was one square of tissue paper or, you know, wrapping paper, so you didn't have this overlap here, it would look rather pretty on the back. So just a little idea, but mine aren't going to be turning on the tree. They'll be like this, and I just think they look really beautiful. And then I'll be adding some ribbon to this one as well. So another thing as well, if you do have thick ribbon and you want to use a thinner ribbon, I always love cutting these in half. You can actually fray some ribbons as well. You can make your own ribbons with fabric. Love doing that, especially if you find like a really nice off-cut fabric or like a pattern of a blouse or something when you go to the charity shop, etc. And you know it would look really nice in a ribbon, turn it into a ribbon. I love finding scraps. So I am going to turn this in, no I'm not actually, I am going to use this for the tree. I'm going to just push this one through. Obviously I'd use the same concept if it doesn't have a hook on the back. If it does, why not use it? And then I'll just tie these two together. At the end, and you can obviously add bows to these if you want to, ribbon bows. They do little packs of bows that you can get in like B&M, or you can just make some yourself. But this having like a little bit of a frayed gingham ribbon on it is just a really nice little vintagey look. So them on my Christmas tree, my handmade Christmas tree, scattered throughout, and I'm going to do pictures of the kids, picture of Gary, we're going to do pictures of our loved ones and pop them all on the tree. These ones are being colour. Obviously you can do these in black and white if you prefer, or sepia colour, but you know what, I do black and white pictures throughout my house anyway, because I quite like that. They just, I don't know, they look really nice and just all uniform. But I think for the Christmas tree you've got to have a bit of fun, haven't you, and have a bit of colour on there. But let's try and not get the light. It's just a really nice craft to do. So then we're going to get on to the next craft. So we're going to bring in our ribbon now. I'll obviously show you all these at the end, styled up in the tree or where they're going to go. So the next craft is a trending craft. Now this one is a really good one that I saw. I can't actually credit the original creator that came up with this idea because I don't actually know. So many people are doing this. I've got a feeling it's an American lady. She's the first lady I saw do it, and her like count was rather high. So I think she was the first that done it and inspired quite a few. But what you're going to need is paper chains, basically. Paper chains. What you're going to need is some sort of fabric, felt, or ribbon. So she used ribbon. She did use wired ribbon. I did order this wired ribbon off Amazon, but it isn't the most structured, if that makes sense. The ribbon is almost like the wired bit is almost like a cotton thread through it. So you can bend it, but it isn't staying like, you know, like the ones that you can buy. So I will link this one below. We'll see how it comes out. But obviously feel free to go ahead and get different ones. And I also got the green as well. So I thought red and green gingham is just gonna look really nice. You up, baby? And what you're gonna need is to cut sections that are about the same length. So you're gonna wanna make a circle, like a ring that you think is like a nice sort of size. So I'm gonna say about there. I'm gonna cut this down. And then what we're gonna do is just cut loads of strips in this size. Now, it doesn't have to be completely perfect, but cut loads of them out. And obviously if you're using 2 colours, you can use loads of different colours if you want. If you're using 2 colours, just make sure, for example, you've got equal amounts of the other colour as you do the other. So if I'm doing red and green, I'd make sure I had 10 red, 10 green, etc. So just going to need to cut all of these out. I am going to be adding a little bit of a twist to mine, just because I don't mind doing a viral craft, but I think sometimes it's nice to just make it a little bit different. And it's funny actually that this come out, this viral craft. When I saw it, I was like, oh, I love that. I can't wait to do that, because I was trying to find Gingham cardstock to actually make. When I gal,
what's that one?
I wanted to do fancy Christmas paper chains.
Yeah.
And then when I saw the ribbon one, I was like, well, it's easy to get Gingham ribbon. It's really hard to get Gingham card. Like, it's really expensive. Like the cardstock for Gingham ribbon, Gingham card, is so expensive. And I find that they was coming in packs where you'd only get like 1 sheet of red, or like 1 sheet of the green, but then it'd have all the pastel colours in it. I'm thinking, no, I just want to get them. I even went in the range and had a little look for, like some nice Christmas, and I thought I can use my Cricut little paper cutter, we can glide it across and I can make paper chains. I'm getting confused now where I'm making ribbon ones. You can make paper chains, but obviously there weren't many nice ones in there. Like they sometimes have booklets of the nice Christmas card, and wrapping paper would just be a bit too thin, too flimsy for this to sort of hold its shape. So when I saw wired ribbon, I thought, well, do you know what? That is such a good idea. So I can't credit it as my own because it's not my own. And then, you may have already seen this yourself, but I know not everyone that's on here has Instagram or Pinterest. I'm going to be making giant ones of these, and I'm actually going to be continuing these with the children. So I just wanted to share these because I think these are really cute if you haven't seen them. So what you're going to need to do is just get your hot glue gun or a stapler. You could staple these together as well. I did buy myself a little mini stapler for £1 from the range, and I did get myself some staples for 49p. So I thought this would come in handy anyway. Have to staple little bits together, but I thought it'd be a quick idea. I mean, I'm going to probably use glue, but you can staple these. If you're finding some things are a bit too fiddly, this is a great alternative. Do they fit in there? No, break it more off. I will use them, by the way. I'm just obviously don't have the space. Give my staple gun. So just overlap them where you're going to overlap them. Then staple on the edge, on the centre, and then on the other edge. And then you've got your paper chain. And then what you can do is I'm going to make sure I cover the stapled areas like so. It's quite a good idea just to be able to show you quickly as well. And then just keep alternating the colours. I mean, as I did say, you can obviously use a million different colours if you want to. This would be really cute. Do you know what would be a really, really cute idea? If you were to, you could get like a starch spray to make the fabric harder. But if you have loved ones and you want to make really sentimental idea, get like a loved one's old shirt or something, cut it up into strips and make yourself the perfect paper chain to hang out every Christmas, and it would just feel really special. Or, like I said, when you make your own ribbons, have their picture in a frame and make a ribbon out of the fabric of their shirts. Maybe put the fabric on the back, make it really sentimental. I really love a sentimental craft, or, and these things are always really good as gifts. And I know not everyone has the skill set to make, I've seen them bears, the sentimental bears that you can make, or there's like, like the teddy bears, etc. And they are amazing, but not everyone has the skill set to make those, or not everyone has the skill set to make some of the other things. Like you can make the hand blown glass baubles from ashes and certain things like that. But this is very much an easy skill set thing to make. So quick. This is so good with kids as well. If you don't want them near a hot glue gun, the stapler is a perfect idea, and you won't see it at the end anyway. And then these will be easy to pop away, and then you literally just get them out and then just give them a little fluff. But you can make really nice paper chains. Obviously, imagine this is going to be a really, really long one at the end. And I can trim up any excess fabric if I've left it a little bit of an over trim. I'm doing it quite quick to show you, but I'd probably do it a little bit closer. And what I probably would do as well is when I'm doing the material, I'll show you. If you are going to be using a stapler, I'd probably, when I do my fold over, I'd probably fold over just a tiny little bit at the edge before stapling so that you've got a really nice clean, I'll show you now, a really nice clean edge so it doesn't really stick up. So just a really clean edge. So you're going to end up with a really beautiful paper chain with ribbon. So the thing that I've done that's a little bit different is I obviously got the twinkly gold garland at the back that you'd have seen when I decorated for Christmas. I got from, it was Fine Nordic, and it's loads of Christmassy like sparkly stars in metal, and it's really beautiful. And I just thought, anywhere like I hang bits up, I like to double layer it to give it like a really sort of like over the top dramatic look. So I'm thinking I can hang these up, but I also thought it'd be quite nice to accompany it by a very small string star garland. Now I've got a few ideas for this. So I've got myself some little gold string. I had this for years in my craft set. This was a massive ball of it, but I've used over the years. You can just use garden twine, any string, cotton, whatever you want to use. But they do have similar ones like this in the range. And then this is from last year. They do these every year. These are £1 and you get a large bag of these wooden stars. Now, they're just like beads. Now these would be really nice to sort of hang on the cotton. And obviously with these as well, you could spray paint these or you could rub and buff them. So they're just little wooden beads with the little holes in them either side. And you could, let me get my little bit of paper. You could rub and buff these. They'd look really nice actually, with a bit of rub and buff on them in gold. I think Gary's got a bit of a cough. You could rub and buff these and make these gold and they'd look really nice. Or you could just spray paint them. So you could use these beads and fiddle them through and have like a really lovely star garland, very cheaply. You can get that for about £1 in the range. And then a big bag of these for £1, so £2 for a craft, and then you have this really lovely star garland. It'd be really nice to wrap your gifts in as well. But this is, I want mine to be slightly larger stars. So then I saw these. These were £1.49, and these are little sticky, these are from the range. These are like little stickers, like they have stickers on the back, little gold stars, very, very brassy. So I thought, yet again, take the stickers off the back because they're like, you know, the foam stickers that sort of push it out a bit. Take them off the back. And what we could do, I'm just showing you different ideas so that you've got a different idea to do it. I would go over these with rub and buff just to take the brassiness down a little bit. So to go from like this sort of colour very yellowy to a bit more, can you see it? It's reflecting the light. It's a bit less yellow. I don't know why that's not picking that up. Oh, here we go. So a little bit more brassy, little bit less brassy than this one. This is a bit more, you know, bright. But what I thought is if we could, I'll get one that hasn't got rub and buff on it so that we can obviously not get rub and buff all over my fingers because I have got to go out after. We could yet again use the string, but use 2 of these either side. Put a little bit of glue. Put a bit of glue on the back. Where's my ribbon? Place your ribbon through it and then place another star on top. Now they have a lot of stickers, like foam, funky like Christmas stickers in the pound shop as well, that are like Santa, etc. You could do them with the kids, this style, like this design as well, and then just make loads and loads and loads on here of these stars. Now we've got quite a few in this packet. You'd end up getting quite a big garland by using these. Bear in mind you have got to double these up, and you could make loads of twinkle bits. But what I also thought as well is you could hang a few of these stars hanging down from the actual garland itself. Obviously not with all the string on show, look a bit scruffy, but you could hang some stars down. But I thought just a layer of stars, like a little star garland. I'll do another one so you can kind of see what I'm talking about going across, because I've actually got a different idea. I found something else and I thought that's exactly what I want. So I just thought these are really simple ideas. This is no really cutting out, you know, you can use them as it's some string, a pack of these. These are really good to do with the children as well. Like, it's a really easy craft to do. And it's really effective. So you're going to be able to not spend a lot of money, get a really beautiful look, and it's not going to cost very much. And they're fun to make. Just make sure you line your stars up straight so it actually just looks like the cotton's running through them like a bead. And then there's no fiddling around either if you haven't got like the skills to sort of put it through the hole of the bead. You could obviously use a needle to pop them through, that'd be a lot easier. You could just thread it through the needle once, and then, so yeah, you can obviously hang these and then have these on the tree. You could have these yet again to wrap presents with. These would be really nice. Can you imagine wrapped a really beautiful gift? Say you've got your wrapping paper and then the ribbon that you put around it was with this on. It would just look so beautiful. So then you can hang these. I've got to get me a little bit of, there we go. But yeah, it would just look really, really beautiful. So that's another idea. But the idea I'm going with today, I'm going to move these bits out the way. It's going to need a little bit of cutting involved. But I just think it's a really cute idea. So I managed to get this roll of fabric, glitter fabric, in the range, and this was $4.99, but you get a lot of this. So this is going to be able to make a lot of crafts. And you honestly, how long is this? This is 1.2 meters of this. So really not a bad price at all. And it's got like a fabric on the back. These would be really nice as a table runner. I did have something similar, a little bit thicker actually, as a table runner a few years back for Christmas. I'm only going to need a small section of this. So I'm just going to cut out a small section, and then we can put the rest to the side. It's easy enough to cut through with scissors. Now I want my stars to be quite large. I want this to be quite a fun, you know, like a large paper chain in ribbon, and I want the star garland that goes underneath it to be, you know, a bit of a showstopper. So I got these. Now you can use any star. I've actually got star decorations on my tree that I could trace around. You could obviously, if you've got a Cricut machine, you get a stencil cut out of there. Anything you can find with a star shape, cookie cutter. Draw around a cookie cutter if you want. Now I'm going to be using these anyway. These are £1 and they're a pack of 10. And I thought these would make them a bit thicker and less likely to curl. So these are little cork stars. Now these would be really good to make little, put these underneath. You can even make Christmas coasters with these. The possibilities are endless. Now I am going to be using my Pritt stick again. Can use a little mix of hot glue as well if you want to. But I'm just going to be using some Pritt stick on the back of this cork little star, and I'm going to be placing it down as far in the corner as I can so I don't waste any material scraps. Once this is on, all I'm going to do is start to cut around the star. Really simple. And then you've got these lovely gold glittery stars. Now I will say, I obviously have done this with Pritt stick. I'd probably lift the ends up just on the edges and use a little bit of hot glue here just to make sure they are stuck down proper securely, so they've got no chance of sort of like turning up at the corners and edges. I will go over and do all of mine, but just wanted to obviously show you that is what I will be doing to make sure that that's nice and secure and they're not going to be peeling and curling, because obviously if I was just using this material, it's so fine, they would end up curling just being hung, but stuck to these they're not. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same but on the opposite side. So yet again, glue this, stick it down into the corner as close to the last cut as possible, so we're not wasting any. I'm going to just cut round roughly as close as I can so I've got a bit more of an easy cut to do. And you can keep these scraps and offcuts, because I actually think it would be really cute if you could even put, you know, like a little hole punch. You'd be able to put a hole punch through these, or you know, like you've got the little I've got some little punches that are like little heart sizes and stuff. I could even make like little confettis to put in a gift bag at Valentine's Day if I've done it with hearts. Maybe do some red ones as well as the gold, save them for that. Or you could like make just little hole punches of the circles. You could put them in a little clear ball to have like little gold, little like sequin looking things in there. You really don't have to waste anything, so these would be really nice as tags for people as well. You could like cut out maybe for the stencil someone's initial in like a different one on the front of this, and have them as like little tags on gift bags, badges, whatever you wanted to do. But I thought these were really, really lovely, these little stars. Now I'm gonna, yet again, this side I haven't stuck down properly, so I need a little bit stuck with the Crit Stick. So I'm gonna be cutting my string. I'm just gonna be doing mine at the top, hanging them down. Now I've seen ones like this in places like Anthropology and Oliver Bonus, really expensive, and it just shows you that a little bit of crafting time, which, let's get it right, a mince pie and a cup of tea, sitting there with the children or your friends or just on your own crafting, you're going to get so much more satisfaction. It's going to be so much cheaper. I mean, by the time you buy the roll, you're not going to need very much of this at all. How much was the roll again? $4.99. Yeah, $4.99 for a huge roll of this. You can use it for loads of other things as well. And then £1 for the little star coasters, but yet again, you haven't really got to use these. You could just stick the two sides together if you wanted to. I'd say maybe add a bit of card in between, so you could even use card. I just think it's a lot easier to do it this way because it's a bit simpler. And yeah, and I'm gonna have these really large hanging stars. So imagine we've got this hanging up. Gal, I need your assistance, babe. We could even make some tiny stars out of the scraps to go in between. Or we could do one of these big stars, then put a little small star on the bead, do loads. Can you just hold that end? Oh, you look smart.
Oh, thank you.
Look smart for the day of thrifting. You're gonna come on and show how smart you are today. You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to come in now.
You made it on edge now.
Oh, sorry.
On the spot.
Yeah, on the spot. Come here. Just hold it like this. Like, just I'll cover your face with a star. But imagine the garland hanging up.
Oh.
Oh, nearly. And you have loads of these stars hanging on it, and then hang these up. As I did say, I'm going to be doing these with kids later.
Am I finished?
Yes.
So much match of the day again?
Yeah. So I will obviously be showing you these styled up anyway. So I'm going to be making lots of these, and they'll obviously have fun getting to make these as well. And I'll probably get a baby to do some of these. He'll really like just threading them on. And these little ones, so he'll do his own little one, he can have in his bedroom, etc. But I'm going to be hanging these up, so I will show you them completely finished at the end. But let's get on to another craft. So far we've made the really lovely little photo frames, the Christmas photo frames that you can hang from your Christmas tree. We've also made the little paper chain garland, as well as we're going to be making some little star garlands that you can make. There's so many different options that you can use these with. And then the next one, I've made something very similar to this before. However, I thought this would be a really cute idea as a gift for someone, but I wanted to get a larger one. So I'll go grab one actually. So last year, or was it the year before, you may remember, I got some of these little embroidery hoops from, I think they were Hobbycraft. And what I've done is I used an old cushion cover in this really lovely green material. And then I used my Cricut machine to print out initials, to pop them in, and then I tied them up, and we've got some homemade little baubles for the tree. And they are a really lovely little idea to do, so we've got them hanging from the tree. However, if some of you may remember that I managed to get a pack of 2 cushion covers, like their chair pad, seat pad covers. I think they were £1.25 a pack, and they were, so basically that cushion cover was a Chartwell one from, is it Chartwell? I'm sure it was, from Dunelm, and it was green. Anyway, they had the Chartwell range. It's the same pattern as my lampshade over there. So they had the Chartwell one in red, and I thought, you know what, I could definitely sacrifice a cover to do 2 crafts with. So I thought this would be really nice. I'm also going to put my little Cricut iron on. I've got my little iron on. I'm going to put my iron on here. So I'm not going to be using anything to do with the Cricut today, because obviously I know not everyone has a Cricut machine. All of these bits I'm going to be doing by hand. But obviously you could do this with a Cricut machine if you do have one. But I'm just using my little Cricut iron just because it's much simpler. And I already had it out because my friend Vicky, she went to Centre Parks, and basically she got the girls matching PJs, and I printed off for her some like little initials for their pyjamas. So I've done them for her. So I was like, I had that out anyway, so I might as well. So I was torn between these. I did actually get some of this. So a little fabric shop local to me had some like little William Morris. Was it the fabric shop? No, this one wasn't. That was the navy one. This one is from Hobbycraft, believe it or not. And it's a William Morris print. And it's stunning. And this would also look equally beautiful. But because I've already got the green in here, I wanted the red, and I've actually got another idea for this, which I'll probably pop in a different craft video because I don't want this one to overrun too long. So I've got my little pad to iron this on. I'm just going to flatten this out a little bit so it's not creased. There's a double layer, so what you are going to need is a larger embroidery hoop. Now, I got this one from a charity shop a few years ago, so like just a little cheap one. I think this was like 30p. So all you're going to need to do is pop your material over your loop, making sure there's enough room around the edges. Pop on your second hoop. I'm doing a double layer is because it keeps it slightly tauter because it is a rather fine material. And last year when I done these ones, what I done is I just put like a little bit of like linen cloth underneath it. But because this is a cushion I'm using, I only need a small amount of this anyway. I'm just going to use the double layer of the cushion itself because why not? So you can use 2 layers, whatever material. This could be tea towels, guys, anything that you find. I mean, these tea towels, they're like $3.99 from H&M. They'd also look really nice in this. You can get any sort of like pattern, fabric, a shirt, whatever you want to do. I've done another one with an initial on for my niece Lottie for her bedroom. So you really can just get these super cheap. And then once you've tightened it up, you just go round and trim off the excess. Now you can leave a little bit if you want to and then stitch it in on itself, sort of like go round and then pull it tight so it all ends up folding in on itself. I just, for the purposes of the video, I mean, they've lasted really well without fraying very badly, so I just thought I'd do it this way. Why not? But you don't have to stitch them if you don't want to, is what I'm basically saying. So then, got our really beautiful embroidery hoop. Now, keep this to the side. There's a lot of fabric there. Keep that to the side. Now, what I'm going to be doing with this is I am going to be putting on this a little design on this. And I am going to be I'll use my little offcut of this. So you can use anything. As I did say, if you've got a Cricut machine, you can print out any material, whether it be white, gold, etc., and do initials. I also, when I made these, showed you, I had a stencil book from, I think it was The Works, that's it, The Works, where it had initials on it, and you can actually stencil over with a little bit of paint, like dry brush it onto there, and you can have initials without having to have a Cricut, without having to obviously have anything expensive whatsoever. If you do want them ironed on, but you don't have a Cricut machine, you can order initials off of like companies on Etsy, and sometimes they're like £1 for an initial, an iron-on initial. So just have a look. Make sure they're iron-on ones though, because some companies do them for bottles, so they're like the peel off vinyl. So you don't have to spend lots of money. However, I'm doing it this way just because I want it to be this way. So what I'm going to do on this is I'm just going to do initial now. You could write the Henshaws, you could write ho ho ho, fa la la la. Fa la 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 would look really quite cute on this, but I'm not. I'm going to do a large H on this. So I'm going to have to draw this out with a ruler. I would always do like bubble writing. These do not have to be perfect. I've got a H, I'm rather lucky. I can just use a ruler to make my H. Just make sure that would fit on that. Yeah, it would. I'm just going to make the little legs slightly shorter, because otherwise it will be a little bit, actually I'll do that across, make sure, and then make the bottom of the H a little bit shorter as well, so it fits on my frame properly. And then I've got a H, a gridded out H. Now, where have I put them? Let's see if these work on this. I don't know if these are going to work. Yes, they do. So I've got some craft scissors. You can get these off Amazon. I'll link some below. Now, don't, by all means, cut it straight if you want to. It will still look really lovely. The letter will look lovely cut out straight. I've got some of these crimping scissors. Now, these are really good to stop things from fraying. So when I used to like make bunting or things like that, it stopped material from fraying. It cuts it on a zigzag, and it just looks a little bit cuter. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut around the edge of my H. So now I've got a H. I think it would look quite nice if it had a little frame around it. So we could use obviously ribbon or anything that you want to sort of put behind it to sort of make it stand out. a bit more, and then the actual fabric itself. Don't get me wrong, you haven't got to do that. That would look perfectly beautiful on its own on there. However, I thought with another layer, so I have got a tiny bit of that material, the William Morris material I'm going to be using. But as I have said before, you can be using any material you've got. You can use old tea towels, old shirts. What would be really nice behind this would be felt. So you can get felt sheets from the pound shop, and you can get like a red one. I feel like a red one or a green would look quite nice behind this. So I'm going to lay down my H. I am going to be putting quite a bit of glue on the back of my H now. So I'm going to stick down to the fabric. And then once you've stuck it down, you could obviously use this with like a ironing on wadding as well, if that's what you've got, like where you hem up your trousers with, etc. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut around the edge, trying to make sure that I cut a similar distance around the edge. These scissors are fabulous, and I would recommend these to anyone. They're about £5. And if you are a crafter and you like to craft, these are the perfect little item to if you're using fabric for crafts. So then we have a beautiful H that's also got an outline on it, which looks really nice. And then what we're going to do is we are going to glue it on to the back. You're going to need quite a bit of glue with this. I mean, you can use fabric glue. I've got my fabric glue here. You could use fabric glue if you wanted to. I'm using hot glue. And then we have a beautiful initial decoration, which just looks really, really cute. You could obviously do a little name in this or a little phrase, as I did say before. You don't have to do it like that. I'm going to use my red thingy ribbon again here. Put this through, tie it together. Crimp the ends with my crimping scissors. Got a little hanging sign, and then lastly what I'm going to do is, obviously you can make one of these. I just got these little bows from B&M last year. They're like little gift present bows. This round the ribbon. Just going to attach this around the ribbon at the top. Once that's attached, I'm actually going to use a tiny dab of glue to hold this ribbon in place. Just literally a tiny tack. And then you've got a beautiful decoration that's literally so cheap to make. So any offcuts of fabric. I mean, if you were going out to get fabric, you'd need a fat quarter for this. So fat quarters are like anywhere between sort of like £1, £3. Then you'd need this, you'd need the whole lot. And then you need ribbon, and then, so it'd be a tenner. Even if you had to go and buy everything brand new, £10 to make. Which, I'm sorry, but you could make a lot of these and have these as gifts. This would be a beautiful gift. I'd love to receive this. I'm going to hang this out in my little utility area. I think that's going to look lovely. But yet again, with the photo frames and stuff, it's just really beautiful little crafts, and they don't have to be expensive. So I'm going to pop that to the side. Then the last craft, you're going to need some brown paper bags. Now, these are a bit like money wallets or sandwich bags. Don't really matter too much on the size. You may have seen these. These are really good. So obviously they're double-sided because they are a little bag. Now all you're going to need to do is get some sort. You can use a Pritt stick for this. You don't have to have a hot glue gun. I'm just using a hot glue gun because it's quicker. I need to put another little glue stick in my gun, and you're just going to run a ripple of glue down the centre of this. And then you're going to add another bag. Make sure they're laid nice and flat. and then keep repeating this. I'm going to say to have about 8. And then what we're going to do is pick these up, open the first bag and the last bag. And see if that's enough. Yeah, I'd say 9 then. We're going to add 1 more bag. Should we just do an even number? Should we go for 10? 10. We'll do 10. 10. Now, once you've got your bags down, this is a really cool hack. I've been doing this for years now. It's really, really simple, but I really, really love it. And then what you're going to need to do is you can get your ribbon glued in ready. So what I like to do is get any ribbon that you're obviously wanting to use. You can hang these up with string if you want to as well. I like to get mine ready. But what you're going to need to do is get some scissors, and you're going to need to cut the edge off here. And then the other edge off here. Rather thick, so just need some sharp scissors and to bear with. I'm going to go in. I'm going to do half at a time as I go in. I'm going to do half and then cut through the second layer, if that makes sense. So then you've got the same shapes coming through. Right, now I've cut these out, a little bit irregular, it's not to worry. Then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get your ribbon. I'm just going to get a bit of hot glue, and right on the end here, I'm going to use a bit of string. No, I'm going to use ribbon because I like the ribbon. I'm going to lay one piece down, put the other piece in, back on top, press that down. And then you're going to need a large blob of glue to go all the way down to the end. And then what you're going to do with this is you are going to open it up. And you're going to stick the last 2 together. Pinch it down and hold it as much as you can. Then you're going to end up with the most stunning stars. So easy. You could spray glitter paint on these if you wanted to. We could add extra stars to this dangling down, anything you want to do. We could even put, should we do it? I think it's crying out for us to do it, isn't it? We're even gonna, where's my little one that I painted? Yes, the little one that we put rub and buff on. I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on the center, and I'm gonna stick it on the center of the star. And we've got the most beautiful hanging paper stars. You can do these in smaller. Do you know what's really nice? They do in Home Bargains, they're 69p. They have little money wallets. So they're like little tiny, like card size. So you can put some cash in, like if you're obviously giving kids dinner money or etc. Like years ago, if you're going on a trip and they put their little like spending money in it, etc. So you can get them in there, and you could do little ones of these. It'd be really, really cute. Or if you want them slightly smaller, obviously get your bags. I'll just do a couple. You could trim your bags down to a smaller size. Glue them all together. And then yet again, we'll trim the edges. If you just do half at a time, makes it a bit easier. We'll go through the last. And then you've also got some smaller ones as well, and you can hang these all around, and they'll look really different depending on what sort of way you cut them. So yeah, I feel like that's just a really cute little craft. Obviously that's quite a lot of crafts one day. I'm gonna say my favourite is possibly the little decorations for the tree. I knew in my mind what they were gonna look like. I knew they were gonna look really cute. And obviously, as I did say, I will show you them all set out now. This is what this one looks like in the tree, but just imagine we'll have loads of these, and I'm having different ones scattered about. I've also got the larger ones as well that I'm going to be having at the bottom of the tree. So I'm just going to be having loads of these photo frames throughout. But obviously they'll have like family members in them as well as ones that have passed. So I'm just going to show you these two. So me and the kiddies. And yeah, I just think that looks really, really enjoyed today's video, guys. I've been Rosie Henshaw. See you later. Take care. Bye.